First thing we need to do is create the stacks and the patron cues. To create the stacks, we will place each card of its own kind on the same stack. The donkey card and 2 player aid cards are set aside for each player. The jack of all trades, as well as 4 weeds and 4 fertilizer, are added with 1 farmer to create your starting deck. The patron cues involve shuffling the patron deck by flipping the deck 180, rotating it, and then shuffling it normally. In this way, you get some cards that will be at 180, and that will change whether it's a ×2 or a corn or a chicken or an egg. And that matters in the patron cues. Flip over 1 card at a time without rotating it. Each card will become its own cue. If we have 2 of the same, then we will add it to the same stack, but it will go behind it to make it a cue. So this means 2 corn are needed for that card, 1 corn for that one. We do this until we have 15 cards out. And there they all are, after I've drawn all 15. And as noted before, this would be the starting deck. We combine all those and shuffle them. With the deck shuffled, we then draw 5 cards to start our turn. And here's our hand we have. Jack of all trade, fertilizer, farmer, and a weed. So using this hand, we have 5 cards we can do something with. The jack of all trades will be any duplicate of whatever's in the discard pile, which would be a farmer if we played a farmer. So we have, in a sense, 2 farmers if we wanted to use them that way. We probably don't want to use that because we only have 1 weed in our hand, and we could get rid of 3 farmers out of there though, if we were lucky. I guess we will do that. Okay, so we put the farmer in, the jack becomes the other farmer, and we go down, if you look, we go down 2, and then we go down 3 more for the duplicate. So we go down 5 cards. And each card we go down that is a weed, we get rid of. So that was a pretty good hand, of course. We got rid of all the weeds. So these go back and they become the deck that we still have there. And the weeds go back to there. Now we didn't get rid of the one in our hand, so we might as well discard it for now. We have 2 fertilizer to our name now. So what we're going to do is we're going to quote unquote buy a card. To do that, we have to add 4 weeds. There you go, 4 weeds to our discard pile for the card we're going to buy. But since we are going to spend 2 fertilizer, we don't have to spend, I mean, we can spend them to take 2 weeds away from that. And then we add 1 card to our graveyard, discard pile. So looking over here, we have meat, potatoes, chicken, corn, eggs. It looks like we have chicken and cow, but we have eggs as well. So what we should do is probably go for an animal husbandry. So we take an animal husbandry and put that in our discard pile. That will allow us, when it comes back around, to be able to get some animals into our farm. So now our turn's over, and we draw up our hand, but since there's only 2 cards, we have to shuffle our discard pile and create a new deck. So we take 3 more off the top after we shuffled it. There we go. This is our new hand. So we have fertilizer, weed, or fertilizer. So it's a pretty good hand for getting a card. We can't get rid of any of the weeds, so we'll just discard those. And then we've got 3 weeds, or fertilizer, that we can get rid of 3 weeds when we buy a card. So if we want to go heavily on the animals, we could grab that. Because there's nothing out there right now we need, except for we could buy seeds, get that in there too. I guess we're going to do that, so we can go both ways on that. So we get a buy seed. The 3 fertilizer only stop 3, so we have 1 more weed to add, and then that turn is over, and we draw 5 more cards, which is entirely our deck. Now other players would go if we're playing a multiplayer game between each hand, but I'm only showing 1 hand. At the perspective of my hand, and not any other player, because they don't affect each other in any way except for taking those patrons away from each other. So what we have now is animal husbandry, fertilizer, farmer, jack of all trades, and weeds. So the farmer has the ability to just be discarded to the discards, which will then, I can get rid of 1 weed out of my hand, but just it's 1 for 1. So the jack of all trades currently is going to be either an animal husbandry or a fertilizer. I'm going to go with animal husbandry because we drew that card. So if we played animal husbandry and the jack of all trades, we played our 2 cards we need, play 1 fertilizer to stop 1 weed, and we gain 2 weeds by doing that instead of 3, and we're going to get some cows. And when you take things from the animal husbandry and the buy seeds, you get 2 each time, along with 3 weeds, unless you can prevent them like I did. Now we did run out of a deck again, so to get 5 new cards, we're going to have to shuffle these, and then we'll be drawing 5 off the top. So our new hand: weed, cow, animal husbandry, jack of all trades, and fertilizer. This is a pretty good hand. So what we're going to do is discard that weed because we can't use it. So the weed goes there. Hold on to the fertilizer in case we want to buy more animals, which we do. Now the cow here, they just get planted in a way. They get harvested right there in front of you. Now they're ready to be sent to fill a patron order over here if we have a cow. And you can do that anytime you want on your turn. So there's my cow. I put it back in the stack right there, and I take the cow card here, and that becomes a point at the end of the game. Okay, and that means we have to take a new card off the top. Remember, we don't flip it, and that becomes a corn. It goes behind the other corn, just like that. So there's a Q. Okay, these other animal husbandry and jack of all trades, you saw how we used them before. We're going to do that again. 1 fertilizer this time, so we're going to take 2 weeds instead of 3. And let's get some chickens. So remember, always take 2 to put in the discard pile. Okay, and then that turns over. The other player would go, and then back to me. I draw 5 cards again. I should have drawn them at the end of my turn as well. Fertilizer. Got my other cow. And a couple of weeds and a fertilizer. So weeds are starting to grow on me here. There they go. And let's put that cow down. So it's still planted. We don't have any cow over here, but if you look, it has a way to get milk. And we have milk over there. So let's use these 2 fertilizer, discard them, and prevent 2 more weeds, and we'll take 2, because we're going to get a card instead of crop or animal. So what we're going to get is another buy seed card. No, let's do a farmer. Farmer, that'll go good. We need another farmer. So that goes in the discard pile. And that turn is over. And we draw 5 more cards. And there we go. Weeds, and a farmer, a fertilizer, and a buy seed. So we can't use that buy seed card. So we're going to hold on to that, because you can keep 1 card from turn to turn. This farmer, we're going to use to get rid of one of those weeds in our hand. So now we got rid of that. We have a weed we can't get rid of. And fertilizer, do we want to get another card and a lot of weeds, or do we want to hold on and just discard the fertilizer? I think we're going to use it. We're going to use it to prevent 1 weed and take 3, because we're going to buy another card. And this time we're going to buy another buy seed card, so we can get those corn needed to flip that to milk on the cows as well. There's a lot of corn out there in the queue. So we're going to hold on to that and end our turn. Now we do have 1 card from the last turn, so we only get 4 new ones. Okay. Oh boy, not a good hand. So we're just gonna skip that hand altogether and dump those weeds right there. Now we could buy another card using 4 weeds with no discount, because we don't have any fertilizer in our hand. And right now I don't think we want that. So we're just going to end our turn and drop to 5 again. Now the other player go, then I go. And we're getting heavy on the weeds here. So I got 2 weeds and 2 buy seeds. So because we do have 2 buy seeds, we can do that. So we got the 2 buy seed cards here and a farmer. So we can just discard 2 buy seeds, or we could use 1 and put it back into the stack, which counts as 2, and then do the same thing. And then we'd have another one we could do. But I think it's better if we just use both here and we don't lose them that way. Okay. And we're going to buy some seeds, which means we have to add 3, because we have no fertilizer, 3 weeds to the discard pile, as well as we want some corn. So you always get 2, remember? So here's 2 corn. Go to my discard pile. Now I do have a farmer, and I think I'll discard him just to get rid of a weed straight out. So I'm stuck with 1 weed, and I will just discard it, and my turn. Another player goes through. My turn. Okay. Not bad, okay. Here we go, we got the weeds, the fertilizer, and 2 chickens. So the chickens come out. They're ready to be used. So let's use those. I don't think we want to do any of these. We're going to hold on to the fertilizer and get rid of the weeds. We'll use the fertilizer next turn, so we'll hold on to it right now. But let's sell some chickens now. So we got 2 chickens, and we put it back in the stack right there, and we take a chicken off of the front, and that becomes a scoring. You'll score at the end of the game. And we'll do it. Well, so here's the thing: do we want eggs? If we hold on to a chicken, we can get some eggs out of it. So let's hold on to a chicken. This will immediately get replaced. And it looks like we have more milk. We just put it in the front because they're all milk. So we have that. And we have a chicken and a cow. And 1 fertilizer and our turn. And draw up to 5. Okay. Oh, that's a good hand. All right, let's look at our hand. Fertilizer, weed, and farmer. So we got some good fertilizer going there. We're just going to use the farmer for the weeds. I'm not going to dig the deck. We're just going to do 1 to 1. We're going to use the 3 fertilizer here, and I think another animal husbandry might be needed. So those 3 go away. We add 1 weed and animal husbandry. Now when animal husbandry comes up, we can just probably discard it and use it immediately. Or if we have 2, we could use it, but I don't think we'll have, our deck is getting pretty thick. So that ends that turn, and we draw up 5 new cards. We can't get all 5. So now we have to shuffle our discard pile. All right. We got animal husbandry and jack of all trades, so we can do that again. We're getting heavy on weeds though, but let's do that. So the jack of all trades and animal husbandry again. Discard that one first, then the jack. We have 1 fertilizer. That'll help prevent 2 weeds. So we only get, no, that'll only prevent 1. So we get 2. And then we add these 2 that we already have, because that was in our hand. All right, that's enough weeds. Let's change them to a thistle. So we take 5 of the weeds. Oh, we already shuffled. We only have 4. Need 5 to get a thistle. So next turn, I'm sure we'll get one. All right, so we end our turn. Another player would go, then we'd go. So we get a new hand. There's our weed we need. Okay, 3 fertilizer, weed, and a farmer. We're gonna hold on to that farmer. We're gonna dig deep in a minute. See how many we can get. But right now, let's take that weeds and take all 5 out of the discard pile here. Okay. So we got our 5 weeds right there. They go to the stack, and we add a thistle to our discard pile. Now we can't get rid of those to a farmer. The one guy can do that is a donkey. And we add it to our deck if we feel like it. And it just kind of clogs it up. Always having a donkey there. So, but it'll get rid of 2 at a shot. So how about we wait till we get more thistles before we add the donkey. So he's not in the way right now. Okay, so we have 3 fertilizers still. Pretty good hand. Let's add a weed. Using the 3 fertilizers, we have 4. And now we're going to go for something special. I'm going to go for a butcher shop. Because we're going to be killing some cows here, I think. Because we got a lot of animals coming. We got to be able to get that meat out of there. And meat is worth 2 when we get it. But we have to butcher it to do it. Okay. So we're going to hold on to the farmer and end our turn. And drop 4 cards because we have a 5th. Their player go, then we go. We have a farmer, husbandry, 2 weeds. Alright. So let's use our 2 farmers in a very good way here. We're going to use both farmers and discard them. So if you look at the card here, it gives her a 2. I guess you can't look at the card. 2, and then each additional farmer is 3. There, let's do it like that. So if I use 2 farmers, I go down 5. But when you discard a farmer, if you look right over here at the bottom, each additional one you discard counts as another farmer. So this is the equivalent of 4 farmers. How far do we go down for our farmers? 11. And we have about that many. So let's do that. We have more farmers in there, so we're good. And we're going to go down 11 cards, which will be on our entire deck. Actually, we have 12 in our deck. So I leave the bottom card, and we're going to get rid of all the weeds. 1, 2, 5, 7 weeds. That definitely paid off. And then these go right back on top of the deck where they were. Okay. And our hand is still a couple of weeds and an animal husbandry. I'm going to use animal husbandry as a card. Discard it, counts as 2, as if I played it. And we're going to add 3 weeds back. We love our weeds. And we're going to get some cows. Let's get some more cows in there. Okay, a couple of cows in there. And that ends our turn. And we drop 5 cards. And there's our buy seed cards. Okay. Oh, and our corn. Okay. So here's our corn. We have another corn. And a weed. Get rid of that weed. And our last 2 cards are the buy seed cards, which we're going to use to make, if you look here, a chicken requires grain to flip it to eggs, and we want to do that. So we're going to buy seeds, use 2 of them, and we have no way to prevent any fertilizer, so we get 3 weed cards. And we put in the grain. A couple of grain go in to the discard pile. Now we could have done each of those individually and got rid of the buy seed cards, and we would have had 2 different types of vegetables in there. Could have done grain and corn, or grain and potatoes, or grain and watermelon. But we want that grain, but we don't want to lose the card because we're going to need that card later. We'd have to buy it again. So I think we're good. We could have, in the future, maybe we'll do that. Okay. So now our turn's over. We do have corn though. Let's flip a chicken. Or I mean, let's flip our cow. Let's pay 1. By paying for it, we put it back in the stack. We flip the cow around. Now we have to use it this turn or we lose it. Cow's flipped around. And we discard it is all. So we just discard it. And that counts as a milk. And we go over here and we take a milk off the front. And that becomes our score pile. But the good part is we get 1 off the top as well. So we got 2 off of that one. Chickens are like that when they give eggs. Eggs are worth 2 as well. Now we can do the corn. Because the one in the front here, corn, is actually one corn. So we could use that for the one corn. Because the cows aren't coming back for a while. So let's do the corn. We'll put the corn back, wherever it was. And we'll take that corn off the front. So we have another scoring pile there to score. We could do a chicken, but I'm still waiting for those eggs, and the grain should be coming. Okay, new hand comes around. Here's what we have. Weeds, buy seeds, cow, grain, grain. So let's get those grain down there. And a cow. So we have a cow, grain, and chicken. Guess what that means? Well, we have these two left, so let's discard the weed. Keep the buy seeds. But right now, let's turn that chicken to an egg by unloading a grain. Eggs then go into the discard pile, and they go in regular. Eventually we'll get chicken back off of that. But we get an egg, which goes to our score pile, which means we get one off the top too. Alright, let's just discard that by seed one. Use it for its full effect. Get 3 weeds. And let's get more corn. Corn's good for those cows. Okay, and then next time we'll get some cows. Alright, so that turn ends and would let the other player go and would draw our 5 cards, which end up being weeds, 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 cow, cow. Speaking of cows, so the cows go back in their own column here. You're going to have one of each type. The 2 weeds you can't do anything about, so they go in the discard pile. And the buy seeds, we could do it again, but we're out of buy seeds, I think, if we do that. And we're full of weeds at that point, but I think we're going to do it. So we put it back in its spot, take 3 weeds instead of, we have no fertilizer. And then let's look out there. What do we got? We have 1 potato and corn, so let's do more corn. Okay, so we got a couple of corn here. They go in there too. And that turns over, and we draw up a hand again. Oh boy. Now this is a good one. Look at that hand. Alright, the weeds are not good. But we did get the butcher shop. So let's butcher our 1 cow that we have here. So we discard the card, and we make some meat out of a cow. So the cow goes back to the cow spot, and we take a meat off the front. And because it's a meat, we get another one. So we get another card there in our score pile. And let's count these. Now in a solo game, when you hit 10 of, that's at 15. If you hit 15 of these, you can prevent certain things. But right now, we're not even close if we were playing a solo game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. We only have 9. So sometimes you want to get those quick, easy ones in a solo game, so you can get more quicker, because it prevents more from coming out, and that's the deal for it is. So we could get 13. No, we could get the grain. There's no grain over there even. No, none of these will help. Gotta turn them to milk to make that work. Okay, so that turns over and we'd drop a new hand. There we go. So a new hand full of weeds and fertilizer. Well, the weeds we're going to discard. Fertilizer, I'm going to use them take 2 more weeds. We're running out of weeds. That's bad. The farmer. No, let's do a bakery. First of all, let's find it. There it is. Let's do a bakery. And let's see how many thistles we can get. All right, that's not a good idea, but we did get rid of all of our weeds, but 3. But we got 3 thistles. So we're going to add Mr. Donkey. He is just a freely dropped in there one. When he shows up, we can get rid of 2 if they're in our hand, or discard pile. Okay. Let's see, we got a new hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. The rest of our deck. And there's a thistle. Yep, there they show up. I just discard it and it goes away to the discard pile. Keeps coming back. Alright, so we have fertilizer and jack of all trades and an animal husbandry. We're going to get more cows, I think, because that's a couple of milk. Oh, maybe not. We can kill one. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do chickens, actually. They'll be coming back through, but nope. There's 2 eggs or 2 cows. Doesn't matter. Let's do chickens, though. Okay, and we have 2 fertilizer to use, so that'll prevent all but 1. So the weeds are there now. Oh, and I did forget to add to the queue here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this might matter. Melons we don't have yet, so we add a new column. Meat, no problem. Meat. Oh, we did good on the animal husbandry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 1 more. And more milk. We should have got cows instead of chicken. But we're good. Okay. And no cows, just the meat is what we need. Okay, so we drop 5 on our next turn. So we draw 5 up on our next turn. Let's butcher a cow. Okay, discard the butcher shop. Put a cow back right there. And take another meat, which gives one off the top. Okay. And let's add a chicken to the land here. We have a green chicken and a cow. We got animal husbandry again and a fertilizer. Let's do it again. Let's get the other cows out of here. So we can probably butcher them too. So make it an animal husbandry. 2 cows. Prevent 1 with that fertilizer there. And we get 2 weeds adding to our discard pile. And that turns over. And we drop 5 again for the next turn, which is a horrible hand of doing anything, but we can discard the thistle, the weeds, and keep the fertilizer and use it to add a weed. And let's get another farmer in there so we can get some farming done. Okay, that turn was short. Most turns are pretty fast. There's only 5 cards total. Next turn comes around. Now here's the problem. Mr. Donkey came up before we had enough thistles to use, but we can use them one time. All right, let's put out the chicken first. Okay, chicken goes down. Corn, so we can make, let's do this the right way. Okay, let's get rid of these weeds for 1. And now let's look at our discard pile. Use our donkey to to get rid of a thistle. Or 2. We don't have 2 though. So should we hold on to them? Now let's just use them. Get rid of that thistle. Okay, so he's just gonna do 1 this time. Now in the solo game that would matter a lot, because he will affect the solo game the more you use them. But right now we're good in the non-solo game. So we take the chickens here. Let's flip one around using this grain. Put the grain back. Make some eggs out of that. Discard. Flip it. So we get chickens back. Eggs. And then 1 off the top. And then let's replace them. We get a grain, which we don't have yet. Can't believe we don't have grain yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Well, yep, 1 more. And a grain too. But it's a Q, so it goes behind it like that. Corn and a cow. We got milk? We got milk. Let's spend that corn to flip the cow. Give us some milk. And then put him in the discard pile. Grab a milk. And 1 off the top. And let's replace that. Corn in the back like that. And that turn, we could get rid of a chicken. Fully just get rid of a chicken. Or is it better to have eggs? Oh, hold on. Well, if the game was coming down to it, I would probably go after the chicken, since my opponent isn't taking any at the moment. Yeah, but I think most people would have taken the chicken when it came out, if they had a chicken. Because it's just good to get these when they show up. Okay, potato comes out, so there's 2 potatoes. Now there's more to the potatoes. They can actually act as fertilizer in a way like the chickens do eggs. They can flip around and become fertilizer. I'm not flip around, but they can be used as fertilizer. They have to be discarded to do that, and they eventually come back and you plant them again, which is really handy if you're going the potato route. Watermelons are interesting because they count as 2 when they finish, but they take 2 times of going through your discard pile, because you put 1 in, the seed, and then after you're done and it comes up, you put it down and you take the other one and put it in the discard pile, and eventually you can plant that one. And then after it's harvested, you can unload it for a melon, which counts as 2 as well. And rightfully it should. So the game goes down until all these cards would be coming out, and it would be a lot quicker probably if other players were playing at the moment. And as soon as all of them are out, the game begins to end. Let's say they're all out there, and let's say I have all these. Okay, so they're all out, and then that'd be the final round. And we play until the amount of players is equal. And then after that, we find out who has the most points in the score pile. Just 1 per card. And if there's a tie, you go and check how many thistles and weeds you have. Thistles count as 5. And weeds count as 1. So you check against the other player how many weeds you have. Whoever has the least amount of weeds plus thistles at 5 each would be the winner. So most efficient route is getting rid of those thistles if you can, because they count them as 5 each. So getting them is a tough thing too. And then that would be how you play Farmer's Market. Thank you. I did leave out that there is an irrigation and a bakery, what never showed up. What the bakery will do, similar to the irrigation, is when you play it, you have to play 2 of them or 1 to the stack. And what it does is it'll flip a column to the 2 side, so that they're worth 2 each now. And yes, you can make change when you're going to the market. If you only have 1 needed, you can just flip it around. So in a way, you don't have to keep that field populated. It just can stay there and flip each time you use a bakery. Sometimes it'll work, other times might be a little too slow. But there you go. The irrigation does it for the other not animals, the melons and the potatoes. Bakery does it for the wheat and corn, or grain and corn.